All right, let's talk about something that I am almost positive you have felt, even if you've never ever heard its official name, Parkinson's Law. Oh, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You sit down, you've got this one simple thing to do, send a quick email, maybe make a small update, and then you look up and an entire hour has just vanished. It feels like time is literally bending just to mess with your to-do list. Well, guess what? You're not crazy. There's actually a law for that. And there it is. That's the one. The man who put a name to our pain was Cyril Northcote Parkinson. He wrote this back in 1957, and wow, has it stood the test of time, echoing through every open plan office and government building ever since.
So, where did this idea come from? This wasn't just some random thought he had. Nope. This was a sharp observation he made while he was studying the British civil service. He was looking at this huge organization and seeing a system that seemed almost perfectly designed to just create more and more work for itself.
And, the really brilliant thing about it is that Parkinson wrote about it with this incredibly sharp, witty, almost satirical tone. He was being funny, for sure, but hiding just beneath that humor was this devastatingly accurate insight into how organizations work. Or, more accurately, how they don't work. How a group of well-meaning people can accidentally build a perfect machine for inefficiency.
Okay, so how does this actually work? Why does a simple task inflate like a balloon? Well, Parkinson didn't just give us the headline. He actually broke down the mechanics behind it. So let's pop the hood and look at the engine that makes this whole thing run.
The key word here, the one you really have to focus on, is perceived. The actual task, it doesn't change one bit. But if you give yourself a week to do it, your brain will find a week's worth of things to worry about, to tweak, to perfect. It becomes this massive, important project. But if you give yourself just 1 hour, suddenly it seems a lot simpler, doesn't it? So Parkinson basically said this whole bureaucratic mess comes down to two simple, unwritten rules. First, a manager who feels overworked isn't going to hire one person who's just as good as them. That person could become a rival. Oh no. Instead, they'll hire two people who report to them. And second, well, now you've got two new people who need to look busy. And this is where the magic or the tragedy happens. Subordinate A writes up a document. Now subordinate B has to review it, add comments, and then send it back. Now A has to revise it based on B's feedback. Then they probably need a meeting to discuss the comments. They create a shared folder. Before you know it, they are both swamped with work they created for each other. And here's the kicker. You follow this logic down the line, with those subordinates eventually hiring their own subordinates, and you can end up with a team that's 7 times bigger, but produces the exact same amount of real, tangible output as that one original person. The entire system has just turned inward on itself. Now, this brings us to probably the most famous idea from Parkinson's work. I guarantee you will recognize this moment. He called it the law of triviality, but everyone remembers it because of the story he used to explain it. The story of the bicycle shed. I mean, it sounds completely bonkers, right? The more expensive something is, the less time we spend talking about it. This whole idea is also known as bikeshedding, and it happens because as humans, we don't focus our energy on what's most important. We focus it on what's easiest for us to understand. And this is his classic example. Imagine a finance committee. On the agenda, there's a 10 million pound nuclear reactor. The numbers are so huge, the technology is so complex that nobody really feels smart enough to say anything, so approved. 2.5 minutes, done. But then, the next item, a 350-pound bicycle shed for the employees. Everyone has an opinion on that. The type of roof, the color of the paint, they can debate that for 45 minutes because it makes them feel smart and like they're contributing. All right, now we're going to shift gears to something a little darker, a more corrosive idea that Parkinson observed. He actually coined a term for it, for a disease he saw that could rot an organization from the inside out. He called it ingelitis. It's such a clever word, right? He mashed together two things, incompetence and jealousy. See, this isn't just about hiring someone who's not great at their job. This is about a culture that actively seeks out and promotes mediocrity, all because genuine competence is seen as a threat. You can just see how this poison spreads. It starts with one insecure manager. That person hires someone they know won't outshine them. Then that new person, probably just as insecure, does the exact same thing. It's a cascade of mediocrity all the way down until the entire place is filled with people who pose no threat to each other and the organization reaches what Parkinson sarcastically called a high standard of incompetence. Okay, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds like it's from some old black and white movie about guys in bowler hats. But how does this apply to our world? The world of Slack channels, back-to-back Zoom calls, and remote work. Well, let's bring Parkinson into the 21st century. This chart just lays it out so perfectly. Parkinson's Law today, that's the 1-hour meeting that's automatically on your calendar for a topic that could have been a 3-sentence email. Bikeshedding? Oh, that's the 100-message Slack thread debating the perfect shade of blue for a button while a massive project deadline is screaming past. And agilititis? That's that toxic culture where the real innovators get pushed aside, but the people who just agree with the boss get promoted. And that's really the big takeaway here. The tools have changed, for sure. They're faster, they're digital, but the fundamental human behaviors, our desire to appear busy, our fear of really big, complex problems, our own insecurities, they are exactly the same. We've just invented shinier, more high-tech ways to expand our work to fill the digital day. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Go on, pull up your calendar for this week. Take a hard look at it. Is it a record of real, meaningful progress? Or is it just a perfect testament to the fact that, more than 60 years later, Parkinson's Law is still running the show?